You're watching WDEF News 12 this morning with Rachel Ash, meteorologist Brian Smith, and your time-saver traffic tracker with Sunny 92.3's James Howard.
Welcome back to another edition of House Chat. I'm Matt Hullender, and here we try to answer the questions that you submit online at HouseChatt.com. That's with 2 T's, or you can go to WDEF.com. Our first question today comes in from Thomas from Dalton, and he asks, Matt, if I could do just one thing to my home to make it more energy efficient, what would you suggest? And that sounds like a simple question, but it's really a tough one. I asked Ethan Collier, who owns Collier Construction. Ethan also has a company called Building Performance Consulting, and they specifically will come in and help Thomas answer this question. So Ethan, what do you think if you could do one thing?
Well, that's a question we get all the time, and it's a good question. It's good people are thinking about it. But the answer to it is a little more complicated because each home is different. So I'd like to be able to say, well, the best thing somebody could do for their house would be to add more insulation to the attic, or to buy a new HVAC system or something like that. But we really can't say that. What has to happen is the whole house needs to be looked at. You know, the heating and cooling system, the windows, the insulation that's there, and all of those things kind of need to be evaluated as a system and see how they're working together, and then a recommendation can be made about where somebody can spend their money and get the most bang for their buck, because it really is an issue of payback. Most people want to know that whatever they're doing is going to decrease their utility bills.
Right, and that's why it is so tough. On a previous segment, we had Stephen Hobbs with Associated Insulation in, and he has his spray foam insulation. I know you use Stephen as well in the homes you build, and that's great. And of course, I'd love for Thomas to put new windows in, and he may have an old HVAC unit, but what other things would you typically look for when you go in to evaluate his house other than those 3?
Sure. Well, like you said, one of the things that is difficult for people is, they want to make improvements to their home, but they don't know where to start. And a lot of times they're reluctant to call somebody who does insulation, because the fear is that if I call somebody to do insulation in my home, he's going to recommend for me to do more insulation. And if I call somebody that does windows, they're going to recommend putting new windows in. What needs to happen is somebody needs to go in, they need to do a full home evaluation, and that might include a blower door test where they actually pressurize the home and they look for air leaks, and in some cases they might find those air leaks in the crawl space. So that would be a good place for that spray foam that you were talking about. Or they might have air leaks in the windows, and that would be a good time to replace the windows. But the only way that you would really know that is by doing that test.
And when you do that, is there what's the rating called that you can give? Is it 1 to 100, or how does that work?
Yeah, it is. It's called a HERS rating. HERS stands for Home Energy Rating System. And it's the way that it works is the lower the score, the better.
So 100's not good?
Well, 100 would be code. So if a home had 100, it would be built to code. Now, most homes that are built are probably more like 120.
Okay.
0 would be a home that uses absolutely no energy. So a good goal might be 80, and then you know that you've done something that's pretty good.
Sounds great. Well, how would viewers get a hold of Building Performance Consulting or yourself to have you come out and do that?
Probably the best 2 ways to get a hold of us would either be through Collier Construction's website, and that's www.collierbuild.com, or for Building Performance Consulting, it's 619-5052.
And I know Thomas's question specifically asked about energy efficiency, and when it comes to energy efficiency, I think Ethan's the best. So I recommend you go there as well. And thanks for watching again today, and you can see us next Monday here at the same time. And if you have questions or topics or want to be a guest on House Chat, visit our website, HouseChat with 2Ts.com, or at WDF.com. Have a great Monday.